Alright, I'm gonna go over Medic on Vigil. So, quite a few things I want to talk about. First, offense. I guess we'll go over offense and then I'll go over defense. First thing about offense is you should not be walking out of spawn until your team wants you to, and before that, you can do this. This is something that you might not hit ever, but if your team gets accustomed to it and they need healing, they can definitely play in that area and spam. This area that you're shooting is all around here, so they can be out of sight line of things spamming them, right? Like, they can play around here and be, like, completely out of sight line, still get arrows, but at the same time, if they are playing around this angle to, like, spam their combo or sentry, whatever, they can get arrows. It's actually a pretty good spot, and people that are pushing the cart as well will be getting arrows if they need health, whatever. So, on first, Medic shouldn't really leave spawn, and if you're leaving spawn, you need to be leaving spawn with teammates. Very important. And I say teammates. It's way too easy for their flank to get control, and now you're getting bombed, and everybody else isn't focusing on something, team dies or whatever. It's just easier to sit and spawn, wait for your team to get the push. If your team isn't getting the push, it's okay to bring your heals out here and heal your teammates if your combo's playing here. Same with on flank. You can be playing around this lower area or up in the apartments there, right? And just be healing your teammates. But you should never be peeking this angle here because Sniper will be sitting there and be watching it. Same thing goes on hill. You should not be peeking over this hill by any means because their sniper can be watching it, or there can be a trap, or there could be a spy. So it's not really worth risking your life here. A is a throwaway point for most defenses anyway, so just be aware of that. Teams are willing to throw away the first point, so Soldier and Scout aren't afraid to give away their life to try and force you or drop you. So you need to be playing with teammates that can protect you. When you walk out of spawn, 2-second, you should be walking out of spawn with a teammate. Either you call a teammate back, or you look at your respawn timers, and you wait for somebody on respawn timer to come take you back. A lot of spies will just sit up here. This is the most common spy spot. They will just sit up there, and they will just scout. Like, they will just sit there and watch what your team is doing when they push the cart and everything, and they'll still be alive for when you want to leave spawn, so they'll go for a stab. In situations where you walk out alone, Spy will just uncloak and revolver you, and you cannot do anything about it because you're alone as a medic, and Spy Revolver should win 95% of the time because Spies will take 3 arrows to die and will be out of melee range, so yeah. On second, the way you need to be playing this hill here is you need to be playing on this left side. You should never be crossing like this. Even if your teammates are like here and you can't beam them, you should never be crossing. If your teammates are crossing and leaving you out of beam range, then you just need to arrow them and just beam anybody who's close. One thing that's very important is playing this fence will be your counter spy, your information, everything for you, right? You can see through it, so you can see your teammates in tunnel. If you play up over this area, there's actually a sniper angle here that a lot of people just disrespect. If Sniper gets this angle here, right, if you're playing along this fence here, you don't have to worry about it, right? You can see everything, you can do everything that you need to do, and that's just like should be your basic spot. You have this giant fence at your back to protect you from spy, to protect you from spam, maybe from side tunnel, from the sniper angle, right? If you're also playing this fence, you can buff up your sniper really easy because your sniper wants to be taking this angle right here, right? So if you're playing over here, you can easily just, oh, I'm beaming you, right? And you can also help watch for spy on your team as well. So if you're playing here, you're healing people here, right? You can still see this area, right? Like you're healing, like you can look really easily to see your sniper and spy check for your sniper, and then call if you can't really, deny it or anything like a pyro can, but you can at least call it and your sniper might turn around and your team will be aware and now your sniper's alive. Yeah, stay here. On the exchange, when you are moving up the hill, you want to be hugging this left wall here, pretty much for the same reason. You don't want to get sniped. Snipers will play here and they'll be looking for this angle here. They're not gonna be way up here looking like this, unless your team has no space. And if there's a sniper here and you're walking there, then I mean your demo's doing awful. But that's irrelevant. Point is, you want to play along this wall to avoid sniper. Make sure your team is checking for traps. This is not really for you, but make sure trap spots will be on point here. You can actually set traps inside the point and hide them, so try not to cross the point. Try and, go like this, and then you won't get killed. Another common trap spots are up here and up here. Make sure your team checks those before you go in, because if you drop to those, that's not really your fault, but just be aware those are the spots. Common spy decloak spots will be here. I know it doesn't really matter, but yeah, spy will decloak here, or even here, and get a decloak, try and get onto your sniper. Another common spot sometimes is spy will actually decloak here. So, like, if you're pushing up here, right, and you're just sitting here healing people and not really doing anything, spy will easily just decloak here, or over, like, behind the boxes, or inside the house is another common one, and he will just decloak and be on your team. So, if you're standing here, be aware of that. One common mistake I see a lot of medics make is that they want to stand here. I even do this quite a bit. Standing here, sure, protects you from sniper, but this is where a lot of your team is going to default to as soon as they get weak or they don't want to peek the angle anymore. If you are sitting here with the rest of your team, you are very vulnerable to demo spam, right? Demo can easily sit way back here and spam this. So try not to stand in this corner. You don't really have an exit. Like, you can jump up here, but you're just going to be taking a ton of damage here. You want to be staying around this wall, healing people around here. If you are getting spammed, you can back up, right? Like, you have a lot of space here to play around with. When you're here, you don't have space to play around with. Like, you have this jump up, and that's about it, because all of this is still the sniper angle and still a spamming. If you're playing around here, you can easily back up without fear. So, I would definitely play around this left side more than playing around the right side. But only play up aggressive if your team is, like, taking space way up here. And if your team has space way up here, you can definitely move up and try and play around here now, where I'm standing here. The things you're going to need, though, is obviously people in front of you, and you should have somebody, like, a heavy on this right side, making sure that a scout or a soldier doesn't just sit up here, or even sometimes heavy will be up there. If something's up here, you cannot walk forward, right? And you need to be aware of that. So make sure you have somebody watching the right. Make sure you have, like, your demo and sniper, whatever, watching the left. Scout can be good at that, too. But you want to make sure that this right side is clear before moving up. And to know it's clear is pretty easy. You don't have to ask for it or anything. You just look at what your teammates are doing, right? If your teammates are up here all shooting this way, and then you see your scout up here as well, like, looking over here, right? Then you know, oh, well, there's no one here because my scout just looked here. Simple. When finishing the push, right? Like, if you're playing up here and your teammates are looking like you're gonna win the fight, you never want to peek this for multiple reasons. One is the sniper angles over here, right? Sniper will peek you from way over here at the back of tracks. Your team doesn't have that control. They're focused on getting the card up here, and they're focusing on locking down the shutter, right? So they can't really do anything about the sniper way in the back. So sometimes your team will play over here, and that's fine, right? But you should not be peeking out as medic. You should just be chilling, healing up your players, making sure you get the cart, and then if sniper is dead, that's good. If it's called that, like, okay, let's go fast, then you, like, push up with your team, right? The other thing is, when the shutter is open, sniper can see into spawn there. So you need to be careful of this shutter being open and you peeking out, because now over here becomes not only a sniper angle from here, but also from in spawn. That is the hill push. I'll go over the tunnel push. As medic, if you are on disad, you want to be avoiding tunnel. This is something that teams do and you need to be aware of, is if you're in tunnel here, you do not have Uber and they do, it's really easy for an enemy team to just go over hill, right? Get this space and now take an Uber, and now they're going to Uber here, right? If they're Uber on, like, a demo scout here, you have no escape options as medic, right? Like, you can either walk into a sentry, walk into a heavy soldier, or walk into their Uber. You are just dead. You don't have an escape option. So if your team wants to play tunnel, you need to make sure that something is watching your back, and you need to not commit deep. You need to be playing quite passively, right? And you need to not be peeking sniper angle as well, because sniper angle is here. There's the other sniper angle I was talking about over there. So you need to make sure that you are playing passive, so if they do decide to try and catch out your team by Ubering, you can easily kite away from your team and try and get out. Another thing is, if they are going to take hill really aggressive because your team is trying to play in the tunnel, right? You need to be watching out for sniper here, because sniper will follow his team when his team pushes forward and sit here on an angle, either trying to do something like this or trying to do something like this. So be aware of that and try to be careful. Another decloak spot will be here if your team is playing in tunnel, so be aware of that, because Spy will decloak here, jump around, and now he's just in a perfect spot for your team. So yeah, that is first and second push. Ideally, when you are finishing the second push, you should be finishing on hill with your team. If not, if you are pushing through side tunnel and you're aggressive, you can definitely play here or something, right? Or you can play here is not a bad spot either. If you are playing tracks, right, you are playing near the cart, you need to not be peeking a sniper angle here, and you need to make sure... I really don't like this because you can't see much, and you don't know what's up here, right? There could be just, like, a soldier here, and, like, he's shooting cart, he sees the beam on the people on the cart, and now he's just gonna go like this and drop in your face, and now you're just dead. So, bringing beam here isn't bad, but you just need to be aware of you can't see everything, so you need to really listen to calls and try and figure out where your team is. I think that's about it for first. When you're taking Ubers, you need to make sure that you're not dropping the people who are supposed to be in the Uber, but also dropping people who are not supposed to be in the Uber. This is very, very common. So if you're taking an Uber here, it should be on your demo scout, right? Like it should be called before Ubers are taken who the Uber will be on, and those are the people that should take the Uber. If your team wants to do demo pyro here, that's fine, right? If pyro wants a flash, if your scout wants a flash, that's fine. But it should be, like, clearly discussed before you take the Uber, so there's no confusion on your end. And if it's something that that's not happening on your team, you need to discuss that to your team, and that should be your main caller's job, right? Like, when your main caller says, I want to take an Uber hill, that is a bad call. You need to be, I want to take a demo scout Uber hill, right? Those extra few words will, not only make it your job easier, but also make your entire team's job easier, because now your pyro's like, oh, I should be on this Uber, and now your scout's like, oh, I should be on this Uber, and now you're flashing 2 extra people on Uber that is going to be worse because you're on offense. I should talk about how to end Ubers on this point. So, ending Ubers over hill, you need to be careful, because way too many times their demo will just put stickies in the back here, and now you have no escape option. So if you see that their demo is getting really aggressive, you have a bad Uber, you either need to leave up here, right? Or you need to be leaving early and try to keep your Uber as you cross this choke point, because their demo is going to try and sticky you. Another thing too is if their demo does have stickies here, it's not uncommon for their demo to just dead his stickies while you still have Uber, and now you're launched up here into, like, this area. And if you're up here, you have no way of getting out anymore, and their demo's just going to put stickies on the ground, and you can't surf anywhere, and you're just dead. So, consider taking this as an escape route, if needed, or even ending the Uber by jumping inside the house here. I know I said this isn't a great spot, but if you're ending an Uber here, then you're safe from all the spam that's coming here, you're safe from all the sniper angles that's coming here, and you're still in a decent spot to heal your team. If you are taking an Uber side tunnel, right, like you're taking a heavy demo or just a demo, whatever, it should be called. There's a few different types of Ubers here. You can be aggressive on it, but make sure you're ending around here. Like, you should be ending your Uber around here. You don't want to be ending your Uber out in the open. You don't want to be ending your Uber even here, because now you're open to that shutter, like spam. Like, if soldiers like waiting for the post, like they're going to be a soldier and a heavy. They're waiting for the post. They open up the shutter, and now you just took 100 damage. Right? If you're going to be playing around this area, you need to be really cautious of spies, either dropping down or just decloaking from here. Another common decloak spot will be around this corner. So spies will like decloak here. The other push talk about is through tracks. This is usually done through a heavy. So if it's done on your heavy, you can just do this. Your heavy will get a lot done. I really like this Uber. It's not commonly done. But when you do finish this Uber, you need to be out, right? You don't want to be here. You don't want to even be here because, again, demo or a heavy, somebody could be on top of these rocks. You can't really see that well, and they can instantly kill you. So you want to be, like, out all the way to, like, here even, right? Like, here is not too bad. You're going to be in the sniper angle if their sniper is satellite there. And you could get shot in the back as well if your team isn't holding side tunnel well, but usually your team will if you're doing a Uber through this way. But yeah, try not to end Uber outside of this little choke point because they will easily trap you inside it, just like on hill. That is second offense. Go for third offense. So your default spot on third offense should not be in here. I see a lot of medics try and play in here, and this is kind of like really bad for the main reason of nobody's really watching this for you. And not only that, but you're kind of in a choke point. You're putting yourself in a choke point. You want to avoid that. So if you're playing around here, right, you can even walk forward here. Like, you don't have to be in here. You can play outside of it, right? You can play up here if you're not getting spammed and you need pressure on cart. This is just like common angles, right? So like if I'm helping my cart pushers, right, I'm helping my sniper get an angle up here. Like, I'm not afraid to walk around here, like this area, because there's no sniper angles, really. The areas you need to be afraid of is now here, because sniper can peek from right there, right? Same thing goes to here. You don't want to really be here, because sniper can peek from the flank over there. Again, don't really like this choke point. I try and stay away from it. Spy will decloak here as well, right? Spy can decloak here, go for something, as well as just overall, it's just not a great spot. Same thing goes to here. You're putting yourself in a choke point. Not a great spot. You don't want to be peeking like this either. Pretty much you can heal everybody by taking a corner angle like this and not eating the same spam as them. Common sticky spots here, here, and sometimes on this wall. So try and avoid those. Spy will decloak here, inside the house here, and up here as well is a common spy spot. So just try and play around here, heal up your team. You can pretty much walk around here. It's not like you need to be in one spot to be safe. This is a pretty safe area overall. Just try not to peek over aggressively. If their flank has control, if their flank has full control, you should be playing actually here. And it's kind of a risky spot to spy, but the issue that happens is their sniper has the possibility of peeking here now and killing you. I'll show that angle real quick. If their sniper is giving this much space, he has the option to peek like this, and now all this room that I said was safe is no longer safe because their sniper is here. Sniper can also jump up here and get an angle like this, so just be aware of that. If their sniper does have an angle like this, you need to basically run to, like, and it's called, you basically need to play inside, which is rough. I understand, like I just said, it's not good to play in here. But if it's, you know, to avoid a sniper angle, that's fine. It's also rough to play in here, but if it's to avoid a sniper angle, that's fine. Your team will clear out that sniper angle fairly quickly. It's just like, you know, get to safety, don't get sniped. That sniper will get killed or spammed out. I'll talk about Uber exchanges last. I'll talk about bringing the beam to flank. So when you bring heals to flank, right? You can either like beam your sniper here and try and make him take SVS, but ideally you take over the flank with your team through lockers here. When you get to lockers here, you kind of just play passively. You don't want to really commit through this choke yet, because not only like is it a sniper angle, but there isn't a whole lot of safe options for you. But once your team is like out and your team's like making the space here, you need to be out with them. Ideally, you play along the right side here and not the left. The left, not only is it harder to get out, but you're giving yourself up to crossing multiple angles multiple times, right? there's an angle there. They can stand on the rock and like head glitch it. There's the flank angle, and not only that, but you're kind of open to over here as well. When you're playing here, right, it's not the best spot in the world, but at least you're safe from a lot of things. If you need to move up, don't be afraid to move up with your team here, right? I wouldn't stand on these rocks, though. I would play on the left side of these rocks, because a lot of the time, if this isn't being watched, a heavy could just walk up here, or a soldier, and now they see you, you're going to take damage, and they have your exit cornered as well. If something does walk here, it should be dealt with by your team fairly quickly, like just like how sniper on flank. So don't worry about it too much. If you are taking an Uber, right, you should be getting to you should be like getting ready. You take it here, right? Like you take it through ladders, and you can milk it fairly well. Just be aware of when your demo is peeking the sniper sight line. So if your demo is here, obviously he needs to be used, right? Like if your demo's here, he doesn't need an Uber, right? Like he can get space. It's right. So try and milk it until he peeks a sniper angle. Like use it when he's like here, because immediately he's gonna peek like this, and now he's gonna be like in their team's face. When you end the Uber on this side, if you're taking it from ladder here, right? You should either be, if you still have flank control, you end the Uber around here, so you can like still like heal up your flank. You can heal up whoever. You can have heals near the cart still, right? You just end it around this area. You don't have to be too far passive on this one, because if they go too far aggressive, they're putting themselves into a choke point here, and they're putting themselves into your whole team that is just going to look at them. If you still own the flank, like you still have players around here, ending around here is good. But if you don't own the flank, you need to be cautious, and you need to be really cautious, and you need to make sure that this is being watched by someone. And then you end the Uber still around here. If you do not have flank, and you like see that during the Uber you lost your flank, like you lost your soldier, sniper, scout, whatever, and they have control here, you need to be taking your Uber back into main, into like the default spot, right? Ending an Uber here isn't bad. You're kind of baiting your teammates that are way forward up here. The issue, though, is as soon as a soldier gets onto this rock that he doesn't even need to jump onto, you can, like, rocket jump onto, you can just casually waddle there. You are now dead. Unless you, like, there isn't a really great place to surf without getting spammed out. Like, soldier can easily still, like, see that and shoot it if he sees you trying to kite there. Or even down here, right? This big wall kind of denies a lot. And even if you are surfing or like trying to get out from this soldier down here, you are now crossing sniper angles and spam angles. So taking an Uber up the main tracks here, like this is kind of more common. You should take the Uber. If your demo wants you to use it early, that's fine. You can use it on demo here. Doesn't really matter. This one is more like how much damage he takes, not really peeking the sniper angle. But his main goal is to get the sentry and then just kind of like hold this corner, right? So he wants the Uber. He doesn't, if your demo's walking way up here, you've already either won the point or he's playing way too aggressive and he's going to die. And you just need to accept, okay, my demo's too aggressive. But yeah, try and play your Uber around this wall. Try and get whatever information you can. Do not flash your players pushing the cart. This is very important. If your engineer is sitting here pushing the cart, he goes down to half HP. Do not flash him on the Uber. He understands that he is not taking a flash. His goal is to get the cart time while your team is Ubering and trying to, get two things done at once. Don't flash people trying to push the cart unless it's like a heavy that's like making space with the cart and he's like shooting a bunch of people and you don't want your heavy to die, right? That can be good to flash him. But if it's like your engineer and scout, right, and they take like 2 stickies and they're like about to die, either they're gonna just be, okay, I'm not getting a flash, I'm gonna sacrifice my life because I want the cart up, or it's, I'm gonna run away, right? They understand the risks of pushing the cart during the Uber, and you should not be flashing them. When the Uber ends, either you have enough space that you can end here, or you don't have enough space and you kind of just end around here. Be wary of spies in the posts. Be wary of sniper trying to maybe get an angle and soldier bombing, but ideally you end here and you're pretty safe. And you're just in the post. You should be If you have good cart time, your cart pushers are weak, you just heal your cart pushers and heal like your demo or whatever. Your demo should still be pretty healthy, so as soon as Uber ends, like you're not, and you can like help the cart pushers, like your heavy's around here, right? You can help your engineer with a little bit of a buff if they're just trying to get this cart space. I think that's about it for third. Now last, it really comes down to how your team wants to push, but I'm going to show you some basic errors. Number one, when you're playing tracks here, you never want to be leaving this way because you're opening yourself up to a lot of spam and a sniper angle, right? You want to be playing around this side here, right? Spy might come up from under. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have an easy time without being spotted, right? Like, it should be pretty easy to be spotting people like that. So, you can heal like this fine, but you don't want to be leaving through this choke point here because now you're open to a lot of things. This pack might seem tempting to go for, but now you're just gonna get spammed out. So if you want a pack, there is a pack under here, and you can call for your pyro to help you get this pack, or you can call whoever to like help you get this pack, right? Might be scout, might be pyro, whatever. But I would definitely take somebody with you to get this pack because spy could be down here. If you do want to rotate out of tracks, you should be rotating this way and going up. And when you go up, you should be jumping around here to avoid some sniper angles down here, because if sniper's being from the tracks, he can't see your head. You can only like see your feet, and if you're jumping, it makes it really hard for him. And you should be playing on this like high ground here. You shouldn't be like trying to, go up here like this. That's awful, but I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If your team is not going for tracks early pressure and you come from like here, you don't have to worry about it at all, so don't worry about that. So now I'll talk about like when you're not doing an Uber. When you're not doing an Uber, you need to make sure that somebody is watching this at all times. If somebody's not watching that, you need to call somebody to watch that. Usually your heavy, soldier, engineer, somebody can watch that for you and give you calls there. So you have two ways of doing this really. Again, I think this is a big death zone, so I would never really play here. If you want to rotate, you can even do this as a rotate. I don't think that's too bad because you're not really in angles. Like here is not an angle. The only thing you need to worry about is things here. But if you're told to go tracks, your team should be going like this, right? But that's like, your team will rarely go tracks there. They're probably going to go flank or big door. So when they go big door, you want to be up on this roof here. You can play pretty aggressively on this roof without fear because there's no angles. You're really safe. You're not going to take spam. You can heal everyone around you, right? You need to watch for spy on yourself. Obviously, if spy's trying to jump from up here. The other thing is, if you fall down, there is good jump spots here. So if you're down here, either trying to save a player or whatever, you can do this jump here where you jump on this little pole, and now you can, oh, I messed it up. But it's pretty easy it's not easy to do, but it's like, you can jump up here, and then you can jump back up here. Or, this is like a more harder jump. You can actually jump from here to there, but it's just easier to, take the third jump onto the windowsill. So just do this, and if, oh my god, I'm bad at movement. But yeah, just do that, and then you can do that. Or you can jump from the windowsill to here, if you're more comfortable with that. But yeah, this is like the common jump, where you just jump from up here, and you play from up here. If your team wants to push the flank here, you need to not be dropping down and playing in this area. You need to be going down here, and be playing like this. When you're playing like this, you need to be pretty passive along this right side of the wall. You don't want to be peeking directly into their soldier, spy, sniper, whoever's up here. You don't want to be peeking directly into. You want to be playing around the corner here, and just be sending heals like this, right? Like it's pretty hard to play in this area personally, but your team should be taking this choke point pretty fast. When your team is forward on this choke point, I do not like walking in here because a lot of the time they're just gonna like send their demo, and now you're kind of like stuck in this choke point. If you don't have Uber, this can be really bad. If you do have Uber and you're gonna commit an Uber here, that's okay. Or if you're like just gonna commit for like a last push, that's okay. Like if your team really wants you to do it, it's fine. But try not to overcommit here. If you do need to leave, again, you should not be going through this area. You should be going under. Another jump that is possible is from here to here, right? It's easier if you stand on this little concrete, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You can like stand on this little concrete bit, put you up a little bit higher, but you don't need to do it. You can just jump and crouch, and you'll be up here. And then if you need to get up there, you can do the same jump as before. The cool thing about playing up here is that all your players can get heals pretty easily. If your soldier's up there, you can actually get beam and a buff if you're playing here. You're close enough for a beam. If your heavy is like red room getting pressured, you can like jump backwards, like you can jump backwards like here, heal up your heavy or soldier, whoever. Usually soldier won't play this when you're like your soldier needs to be up there, but you can heal whoever needs to be here. And then you can jump back. But yeah, and when you're here, you need to be healing your sniper. Your sniper needs to have perma buff here, so make sure your sniper's healed. If your players need heals there, you can do that. All right, you have decent area here. So for Ubers, I'll talk about the different Ubers. When you're taking an Uber through Big Door here, you need to have an exit plan, and this should be like globally through your team. And usually you just kind of like follow your demo wherever your demo exits. So if you're coming up here, you kill the gun, you get the force, your demo starts running back this way, you need to be running back with your demo and ending the Uber like here. Ending the Uber here is fine, but like you still want to be like, you know, cutting this way and not being in a terrible spot, because they're just going to run into you, right? If they have a better Uber, they're going to try and, you know, take it all the way, and then you have options here. You can go this way, you can go under if it's necessary, or you can just kite out this way, right? You want to give yourself options. If you're going to kite out the Uber red room, which is another way to kite out the Uber, where you force them, your demo kind of like goes like this, and you like follow your demo here, and you end in red room. You have options. If they try and push into you, you can go out this way, you can go out this way, although I wouldn't really recommend this way if they're pushing into you. I'd recommend just trying to get out here and then playing out here, because now you're kind of avoiding everything and you have players around here. The other thing is, if you are here, Big Door is not really a great escape option because you're leaving yourself in a very vulnerable spot to sniper and demo. And not only that, but if their flank gets control in the Uber, like they kill your flank or your flank's not in a good position, and they start rushing out this way, or like the post Uber, the defenders do, now you're here and their team is up here and here, so now you're just dead. So try and kite out either to red room or tracks. If you don't go the same way as your demo, it's fine. Usually your demo will drop down to meet up with you, or you can drop down from red room to meet up with your demo. Keep those things in mind. Same thing, pretty much the same thing can be applied to if you're Ubering out tracks or through red room. You need to have a decent escape plan. You need to be alive in the post Uber. That's like a very common thing that needs to be done as medic. If you're not alive on your offensive post, it's going to be a really bad fight after, because they're going to have heals you're not. If you're taking a fight through flank here, right? Like if you're getting the flank space and you're told to Uber through flank, maybe it's like through up here, right? Where you're like jumping here and you're like Ubering up here. Or if you're taking Uber like down like here. Again, same thing applies. I wouldn't really end Uber here. I would end at red room or tracks, wherever your demo is ending. And usually your demo will like end in the same spot every time. So just like in scrims, you'll see, oh, my demo ended red room. Probably next time he's going to end red room. And then you can like prepare to like end around here. And then if he's like, you know, kiting, you can like go with him. But one thing is you need to play your beam distance well on Ubers. You do not need, like if your demo is this box, you do not need to be here in an Uber, right? You can be way back here, right? Or even a little bit further here, right? Now, you are not in the same spot as your demo, right? If you fade here, you're both going to take the same damage. If demo pipes you, he's hitting the demo. If their demo pipes your demo, now you're taking damage, right? If you're playing here, Now you have more escape options. You have more teammates to know where you are because they can see you from here and here and here a little bit easier, and they can protect you easier. And yeah, you're not taking the same damage. So in the post, you can play around here to help your cart pushers. You can play around red room. You just need to be aware. I would not throw yourself on the cart because most of the time the enemy team is going to be throwing a lot of damage onto the cart. So you kind of want to play away from that, but you want to be playing close to it enough that if anything does decide to shoot you or, become a menace to you, your cart pushers can now shoot the players that are like damaging their medic. Cool. I spent 35 minutes on that. I don't know why, but I think that's a good explanation of offense. I'll go over defense starting on 4th. So defense starting on 4th. I think this is a really good spot to play, especially if your demo is forward. Bad spot to play is here because you don't have options to get out, really. If you're playing for a forward hold where your demo is like holding here and like holding this area, don't be afraid to play on this wall here. This wall's pretty good because their sniper should be shut down by their demo. And not only that, but you have quite a few areas to escape to. Like if you need to immediately avoid a sniper angle, you can hide here. You can kite out this way if you need to, right? And you can also kite out towards red room if you need to. So yeah, this wall, pretty good. The main thing on this point is the offense is going to try and peek their sniper here. So you need to be playing in a spot that you can still heal your teammates, but not peek that sniper if it comes up. So this is a really good spot. I would not overextend. Like if your demo's down here and he's like spamming out this and this, and like their sniper and he's not really controlling big door or nothing's controlling big door. If your sniper's here, that's fine because your sniper's gonna shoot him, right? But try not to peek it, right? Like you don't have to chase your players will come to you. So just chill out, sit here. Usually you'll have a dispenser here if your team's playing this left side. If your team's not playing the left side and they're trying to play this right side, you can stand in the dispenser, but you can also play with your back to the wall here. You don't really have to worry as much because you still have your back to the wall. You can see a lot more players than just standing here, right? Like if you're standing here, you're not able to see really players above you. You're not able to like see your players on the left. You're not able to see a lot. The thing you need to be careful for is sniper peeking that. So try and play with your back to the wall like here. You can heal your flank members. You can heal people coming out of spawn easily. You can heal your demo, stuff like that. Playing like this too, if your demo's getting aggressive around the cracks, this can be fine. But you don't want to peek this sniper angle, and you want to try to avoid that sniper angle, although it's less common. And also, by playing over here, you can heal your flank members that are just like here really easily. You can see them come up and you can immediately like arrow them or just beam them if they have crit heals or need a buff, whatever. Compared to playing here, you're not seeing anything. You don't know when your team is until like, oh, they're here. So try and play along. I really like sitting in this wall. I think it's a decent spot. The thing you need to be watching out for, though, is spy decloaking in your spawn and trying to go for a stab like this. And even you can get stabbed like here too, so you need to be careful of that. This is pretty weak to spy, but if you have a good pyro who's spy checking for you, right? Because he's not going to be doing a whole lot on this point other than spy checking for you and NG. So try and, this spot's really good. You don't have to sit right with your back to the wall either. You can like move around, follow your demo a little bit if your demo's getting aggressive. Go buff your sniper if your sniper needs a buff on this left side. He's playing around the crate. One thing to avoid though is playing this crate, because that's a sniper angle, that's a sniper angle. If you're here, you are now stuck. And if their sniper starts peeking in, right, and he knows you're here, their demo can like walk in like somewhere else and just start putting all of his spam here, or soldier can put all of his spam here, right? And now you're like, you have no options to avoid the spam. So try and play on this right side or left side. And if your team's playing forward, you can play forward here. Third point, you should never be peeking like this. You should never be leaving the concrete, right? And you should never be peeking too far. This is the range of your beam, pretty much goes to there. You shouldn't really need to heal anyone past here. Because as soon as you peek out here, you are now vulnerable to not only like sniper, but it's really easy to stab you as spy if you're playing here, because spy can decloak here. And although, like, this should be seen, if you're playing aggressive here, the rest of your team's probably playing aggressive, like, here. So, yeah, you need to be kind of playing around the fence here. You need to be, you know, healing players like this. If your flank needs heals, you should be playing like that. Whatever, arrow heavy, it's fine. But try not to, you know, put yourself out here. If your team needs heals, they need to go to you. On the Uber exchange, you can obviously move out, and if your team's pushing up, you can like move out here and try and flash your flank. If you're like, if you have like a heavy pushing up here in the Uber, you can get a flash here, right? Like you can play in between here, flash your heavy, flash your demo. But you want to end the Uber in a safe spot, right? Like you want to, if you're playing these two spots, you don't want to be ending your Uber still here, because now their sniper is going to peek from like here, and now you're dead. So yeah, try and end your Uber back over here. You need to be spy aware for yourself a lot, and only from really one angle, and that angle is this corner here. So if you're playing here, you're healing players here, you need to kind of be aware of that. If your engineer does not have the dispenser right in the corner here, you need to try and tell your engie to put the dispenser right in the corner. The reason for that is spies, if the dispenser's here, where this arrow is, spy can decloak in this corner now with rarely being seen, and now just walk around the dispenser and kill, or just stab you through the dispenser if you're sitting in it. So you need to make sure that the dispenser is right in the corner, because the spy can't really like stab you through it anymore, and he can't like, he can jump on top of it, sure, but most of the time, if like if your teammates are like backing up into the dispenser, it's really risky for him. Other common spy spots will be back here, right, and over here to try and sap the gun. So spy will like decloak here, sap the gun over here or here, wherever the gun is. So yeah, and then maybe he tries to go for something, but be aware of this corner for spy. Your heavy should not be getting beam if he is playing over there. If your heavy is playing near the flank on that rock, or like by ladder, he does not get beam. You should not be overextending yourself to try and beam your heavy. He has a pack there. You can arrow him. You should not be walking forward into your heavy. If your heavy's on this corner, shooting like this, cool. You can heal him from here inside the dispenser and just play safe, right? Demo heals, again, you can roam around this platform a little bit and make sure your demo has good heals here. When you get bombed, though, you need to be immediately retreating to your dispenser for the dispenser armor. The further back you are against this wall, the harder it is for soldier in the air to shoot at you because of this, like, roof here, right? And the further you are in this corner, the harder it is for him to shoot if he's over, like, this side, right? Because now he can't shoot in that corner. And it also, dispenser armor gives you, you know, more protection and healing and whatever. But yeah, try and play in that corner if they're going for sacks. Watch that corner for spies if your dispenser's in the wrong spot. Tell your NG to put the dispenser there because it will counter spies really well. And it's not too much of a distance from moving here to moving here, right? Cool. But yeah, you should never really... the only time you really would move out here, if their sniper is dead and their team's wiped, then sure, you can, like, rotate the flank and crit heal your flank. Or if, like, they're just capping the point, your team has a solid setup here, don't be afraid to, like, move out here, crit buff your players, right, and then immediately move back. And that is the second hold. Third hold. Or that is the third hold. This is the second hold. Your dispenser is going to be here. You don't need to sit in your dispenser at all times, but as soon as a sack wave comes in or they are pressuring from hill, you need to be sitting in. So if things aren't really happening and you're just chilling, don't be afraid to play down here. Try not to play, like, in the shutter here or even, like, open the shutter. Try and, like, you know, play like this, right? You can heal your flank here, right? Like, it's okay to, like, walk out like this and heal your flank, but you shouldn't be doing this at all times, especially if their demo is putting pressure from here, right, with their sniper. If their demo and sniper are getting space here, you need to be in the dispenser. There is no other safe spot for you, really, because you're just going to eat a ton of demo spam or you're going to be in a sniper angle. So... you can play, especially if your sniper is taking really aggressive with your demo, like your sniper's up here. If you're here, you can no longer heal them, so you can play a little bit on the low ground, like not in the dispenser, heal the players you need to heal. You can even heal your heavy and soldier, whoever need it, right? You can just be aware of spies and stuff, but yeah, that's second hold. Don't be afraid to be down here. I see too many medics just sit here, and it's like, oh, I'm sitting here through the whole game. As soon as like they go for a sack wave or something, obviously you want to be in the dispenser. So if there's soldiers up top here, right, like he can't shoot down into you. It's obviously dispenser armor and stuff as well. So that's about it. For non-Ubers, if you are taking Ubers, you should be ending again in a safe spot, usually primarily where you started the Uber. So if your team is like meeting them here, right, or they're backing up here and you're sitting in the dispenser, right, you're sitting in the dispenser, your teammates are like here kiting their Uber away, that's fine. As soon as like, you know, you need to use because your demo gets weak or you get weak, just use, right? Don't be afraid. You shouldn't milk too hard on this point because what you need to do is get this hill space back and try and get them out of this low, like this area here. If you milk too hard, they're gonna get too much space around here, and now they're gonna be able to shoot like your heavy and soldier. They're gonna be able to shoot your engineer and gun. They're gonna be able to shoot anybody like your sniper trying to like be in the shutter out of the Uber. It's just really bad if you let them get too far. So don't be afraid to just use early to make sure you keep the space and keep all your players healthy. You should not be ending the Uber here. If you're ending the Uber here, you're in not only risk to things flanking you or jumping out of the tunnel, right? If they get the sentry gun, now soldier can like walk out of the tunnel, jump, and now he's like right on top of you. You're on a sniper angle. They can shoot you easily from here. So try and, you know, end in your default spots from before, or like in the dispenser or like around the dispenser around here. Another benefit to ending around here is that, again, you can heal your flank and stuff if they're weak in the post. I didn't talk about spy spots. Let me do that real quick. Common spy spots, pretty much the spy will either decloak here, right? He can get to here, uncloak, not open the shutter, and then go out this way. Another common spot for spy is for him just to obviously walk through the shutter or be down here. This is usually watched by your NG, but just be aware that sometimes spies, especially when their team is trying to push, will decloak here, sap your gun, and try and get a stab either on the engineer or on you. So you need to be really careful of spy walking up here. So yeah, if you're playing here, don't be afraid to play a little bit more to the right if your team's controlling it, right? But try not to, you know, put your back to the shutter here. This is a really good spot. Just need to play it right, and you can like rotate it properly, and as soon as there's like pressure on you, or you think they're gonna sack, whatever, your spy call is like, oh, they're all coming tunnel, or they're preparing to sack, or whatever, you can definitely just like move into the dispenser and play in the dispenser. So yeah, first. Again, first is a throwaway point. There's two ways you can play it. One is just sitting really passive in your dispenser, right? You can heal everybody here. You can kind of heal people here, right? You just kind of play around this area. The issue you need to watch out for is obviously spy, decloaking here, decloaking in the house. Oh, missed the jump. I'm bad. But spy will decloak in the house like here, and then just go for like a drop down, kind of like that. And spy will also decloak here. I see spies decloak. Usually that won't be for the medic. They'll decloak here and try and go for the sniper that's playing around here, or like the demo that's playing around here. Or just try and sap the gun so their team can bomb. But yeah, just sit in the dispenser. Once your sentry gun leaves, you need to leave. Main thing keeping you alive here is not your heavy and pyro, because your heavy and pyro, usually your heavy is going to be playing somewhere a little away from you. Maybe in tunnel, maybe around the rocks there. And your pyro is spy checking, so if they sap your gun, or like if they sap your gun, it's okay because now your pyro is immediately like focused on over here, right? But as soon as your gun moves, your pyro is going to be like helping your engineer, and your heavy's not going to be with you. So if a soldier decides to like bomb in and like gets to this spot, you can easily just 2-rocket you and force you. So you need to be aware of that. You don't need to really walk out here at all, right? Like if your demo is playing up here, that is his fault if he dies. There is no way to beam him through this wall. If you are walking out here to beam him, you are now open to 1, 2, 3 sniper angles. So try not to ever walk like past this line, unless you know it's pregame and you're like buffing your flank. Same thing goes to this right side. You should never be playing like here. It's just safer to play like this, around the dispenser. One thing you need to be aware of is if you do have your dispenser here, spike and decloak, jump on top of the dispenser, and now jump on top of your head if you're playing down here. So try not to play down here because spies will be on top of the dispenser, jumping on top of your head, and you just get backstabbed with like no counter because spy is a balanced class. As soon as he gets a little bit of height, he just can backstab you most of the time if he is good. So the only way to really counter a spy jumping on top of you, if you see it before it happening, is to pull out your melee and try and hit him up before you can land on your head. There is enough knockback that you should be able to hit him up, and then he can't get the stab on you. Unless he's like a god and like surfs the hit and like lands on your head again, and then your team doesn't shoot him. But most of the time, if a spy jumps on your head, you're just dead. So you gotta try and avoid that. And with the dispenser here, you know, where the most common dispenser spot is, spy can jump on your head if you're playing like down here too much. So just try and be passive, heal your players up. Most of the time your players are playing around here anyway, so they're going to be able to be seen by you. So you don't have to play too aggressive. And again, this is a throwaway point for most teams. So as soon as your sentry leaves, your team should be leaving with your engineer and you, right? The gun's gone, you have a high possibility of dying. There's going to be teammates that are trying to protect your NG as he leaves, right? So then now you're not only down a gun, but you're down maybe a pyro. So just be aware of when you should be leaving. And I didn't really talk about when you should be leaving. That's usually on your main caller and engineer to decide. It's not really on you, but be aware of the like of the calls, right? Like if your engineer's like, I can't stay, or like I gotta move gun, that should be like a clear indication of we should leave, right? Other than that, don't be afraid to like start the round. This is gonna sound weird, but don't be afraid to like, with 5 seconds left or whatever, you can like be healing your flank, especially if your sniper is playing up here. You can like heal your flank here, and then you can like, when the round starts, you can be around here still. Like, sure, you're not in the most safe spot, but you're like immediately gonna be here by the time that their sniper can even get an angle, or anybody can bomb or whatever. So it's fine if you're a little bit late because you're buffing your flank members, and I would recommend buffing your flank members so they can hold it a little bit easier, because the enemy flank that is trying to push is most likely going to have buffs, right? Like anybody who's trying to push out your flank is going to have buffs most of the time. So if your teammates have buffs over here when the round starts, that's good. Other than that, your flank will be playing around here, and your sniper will be playing around here. You don't need to walk to them to heal them. They should be getting arrows, or they should be getting the pack and leaving. My throat is killing me, so I'm going to end it here, but hopefully that makes sense for a lot of the medic positioning and ideas of how to end an Uber, how to play an Uber, and sniper angles, spy decloaks, demo stickies. I went over a lot of stuff. Hopefully it was helpful.